A United Nations Commission voted on Wednesday to remove cannabis for medicinal purposes from a category of the world's most dangerous drugs. A highly anticipated and long delayed decision that could clear the way for an expansion of marijuana research and medical use. They say that 53 member states participated, and essentially it had been recommended before to them, but this was now a vote to say we move it out of Schedule 4 for, like you just said earlier, for medicinal purposes. So recreational, does that mean there's still a part of recreational that's scheduled? Or is it's still lower? You see the oxymoron I'm seeing, like everyone are like medicinal, hemp, recreational. What impact does this have on the rest though?
Yeah, because it's feeling to me like this is more enabling the hemp industry, the industrial hemp industry to get going, because it's a cannabis plant.
They're saying specifically for medicinal, but is this gonna therefore impact the others and allow them to boom more? Is it a win for everyone or just for medicinal?
Or just for medicinal.
I think this is, in general, it's a good move because it says it recognizes that cannabis has medicinal and therapeutic benefits.
Yes.
That's a really great start to morph into recreational.
Yeah.
But in terms of like on a UN level, there's no vote or talk about recreational yet.
It also
We're
now
not there
allows
yet.
research.
Yeah, it does allow for research now, which is a great starting point because we didn't have that previously.
Yeah.
And that will open up the door for a lot of other things. Once there's like recent valid studies that have been conducted like by reputable companies, we like that's
Definitely
proper
opens the gates for
evidence.
them.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Big
Opens the
time.
gate for the big boys that now only want to operate under the good side of it, basically, or they're trying to ride the good side.
Or maybe they're actually doing this just to open up that good side door. So it makes them look good. Because I think they're going to do it either way.
Oh, you think they're buying some favour? They're giving us a little rope, yeah, but they're going to take a little rope there.
On the
We
other
give you a bit
side,
of weed,
they might.
but more drones. Mo 5G.
Mo 5G fire.
So, what was interesting, they said that the only China... I'm sorry, only China was
But it's
So, the only nation that abstained from voting was Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On all four.
Losers.
They don't like the
But,
dang.
but here's the thing.
Yeah, there's no dank there.
Here's the
Definitely
Just
not.
Ruderalis.
Yeah. Autos all over.
thing. But here's the thing. Like
Bosses,
a
they're so angry.
few months ago, they were gonna vote no on everything.
So at least
And
they
if
didn't
they did-
Ukraine on the parade.
So if they did, Jesus Joe. So if they did vote no, it could have gone bad for us in the section in the 5.1 vote because it was like 25-27, and their abstention.
No, very close.
So
Yeah.
so like it's
It made
better
a
than a no.
difference.
It was
Yeah.
literally.
It's better than a no, and we'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
It helped.
just by the hair of the chinny chin chin that we
Yeah.
got this through.
Yeah.
So they were saying also on Wednesday the Commission rejected a proposal to include the cannabis derivative THC in the 1961 convention, which would have tightened some controls. So it sounds like some people were pushing for more legislation at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
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 Big who though? Big pharma? Big paper?
Big paper.
World Health Organization. They actually set forward most of
Ah,
those recommendations.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
eh?
NWO. I mean WHO.
No, no,
Okay,
at
so-
this stage, you'd be like,
Literally
No,
who?
no.
What you saying there,
Yeah,
Ryan?
that's why
don't
they
at
say
this stage,
because-
who would be against it? Like, it's gone so far forward that why would people still be wanting to hold it back?
Maybe we're the cause to their rebeldom. You know how we love weed? Maybe some people love fighting weed as much as we love weed. You know, yin and
There are
yang.
people
Yeah.
that love, people
Love.
love arguing. I know people that we could argue all day, and they this gives them that power, that, like pedestal to stand on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people just like to be contrary.
Yeah.
Oh,
True.
Mary, Mary.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, I wonder if DFL was there with their posters, or if they did it by Zoom. They had to put devices out there.
I think since the sales of Aqual have gone down, they can't afford the airplane charge tickets to Vienna.
So, you know, the scheduling thing, it is progress, and I'll always take progress for progress's sake. You know, it is nice to see it at that level, as overdue as it may seem. But it's something that Yusuf all kind of brought up is the booze and cigarette thing. And I kind of feel like what's good for the booze is good for the ganja. You know? Because
But we all agree.
it's like we all unanimously agree that it's like no more harmful. But I do worry though that this research will only be in such a context with medicinal that it doesn't help recreational.
Yeah.
That's really like we forget how lucky we are. It's the criminalized, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and I know the US, we should actually do a story soon. All over the show, the states will say, psh, psh, legalize, legalize.
Yeah.
Eh?
And I see you, Dagga, and I raise you all the rest.
But also, you know what? I just realized it's quicker to vote than it is to get in your car a couple of times a year to go to the neighboring state to get weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think now Oaks have realized, fuck, it would be nice to get it down the road for
Yeah.
me. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also the first time that the US has always ever been this supportive with this medicinal thing as well. Because usually
Yeah.
they're very objective. They're like
Yes.
biggest stick and all.
Yeah. Yeah, what was interesting is Brazil voted no pretty adamantly, and then he went on to, like, because you have this section where they vote and then a time where they can explain their vote. And he got up there and explained that, like, they voted no because there's no scientific evidence showing that cannabis has medicinal value. So therefore Brazil will not be voting yes because that's what the research shows. And we're like, but other people are saying they voted yes because the research shows that.
So does Brazil not have access to Google?
The cable must have been cut.
Yeah, no.
Is it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
Ignorance is.
Yeah,
Bliss.
it was very interesting. But again, that's why I'm saying there's a political motivation behind it. It's not what it seems. There's this game that's happening on the stage, and then there's another game that's not on the camera, and it's not happening in the open. And it's people talking and like, okay, how can I benefit in this way?
And a drink
yes,
at the pub. Yeah.
yes, and
it's lizard people.
It's the
Yes.
people.
yeah, and that's
Couldn't believe
what
it.
that's what drives all of this. It's just a game, you know.
Yeah.
At the end
Yeah,
of the
but
day.
like they were saying in this, everyone's making a buck. Because they were
Yeah.
saying medicinal, but they also brought up CBD water and CBD this and CBD
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously they're aware that there's a market. Everyone wants to get their cut. And that if that's what it takes as well, that's just the way it is. Eh? But let's hope sooner rather than later they vote on something that's really like more liberating for the rest of the world. Because they're saying it will give other nations the chance now to follow suit, but they're saying countries aren't obligated to follow this
Yeah.
No,
change.
they're not.
They're not obligated,
They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have the final call in their country.
How are we doing on Kenzie?
He's not there.
Okay, cool. So we have got a special guest that we'll get to live who's going to be very fluent in all of this. For now, though,
Hopefully.
please remember to vote in this week's Zol poll. Should weed be scheduled? We're not asking regulated, we're talking scheduled. Hell no, faux show, so. The reason we got Ryan here is that this is a story that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. 3 years.
This made headlines. I remember a lacquered picture of Alani Pawsey and a bunch of people getting munged in, it was Durban.
No, it's actually in Port Shepstone. Eh?
Port Shepstone.
Port Shepstone, Tweenie area. Yeah.
And I know that you're only allowed to talk about certain things because
Yeah.
this dude is out on bail, and as fucked up as it is, it's kind of still a silver lining because it's not going that well for the rest. But basically what went down, you got munged like 3 years ago.
Yeah, on the 24th of January 2018, they did a raid on a whole bunch of properties and that, and it's been going on since then, and it's really been quite a shit show if I excuse my French.
No, French is
But
my
it's been it's been going on for very, very long. It's been dragged out. It seems like that they acting like it's something bigger than what it really is. If I can say that, you know what I mean. There's still guys in jail that haven't been given bail, like they're going to be a flight risk, and you know, it's really been unfair. People have been treated unfair. But we really got a good lawyer now, and I really feel confident now. I feel like somebody's behind us fighting. Because we've had a whole bunch of different lawyers, and they all tell you a different thing. And you don't know who to believe, you know what I mean? You believe them because they're the lawyer. But it's cost so much money, and it drains you. It really does. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy in jail life. It's not nice. And it's not fair, you know what I mean? Like, I can't really talk about the particulars, but they catch you and they say that you're doing wrong. You know what I mean? I never once felt like what I was doing was wrong, and I never ever will. That I can guarantee, because I don't believe it's wrong. They just go after you because you're easy target and they're too scared to do their jobs. And look, it's been going.
When you're in court, there's no one there saying that you hurt them.
Yeah, no.
There's no person standing opposite you saying, this person, I have grievance with this person.
Yes, I have.
Because that's what the court is for. But there's no person doing that. It's this.
It's only the Hawks saying that
entity.
you're wrong.
Now, the moment they see 5 plants in a row, it's like a huge drama. They get a hard on.
Yeah.
It's
It's a lab.
disgusting.
It's a lab. Oh.
But there's not much you can do about it. You just have to hope you have got a very good lawyer.
Yeah.
That's one piece of advice I can give anyone.
Yes.
Have yourself a very good lawyer, and you can feel safe then. Because if you don't know the law, I don't know the law. I have to be honest. I'm not a lawyer at all.
Yeah.
Just a simple person. And if you have a good lawyer, they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Because what they're trying to do is illegal in its own.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
They
Especially
keep carrying
with
on
you
with
They're
guys.
waiting for you to admit it, and then
Yeah.
they use your admission of whatever degree they find fit.
Exactly.
use
From
it
the
against
beginning,
you.
they've said
Because
plead
you
guilty.
said this and this will apply. So
From the beginning, they've said plead guilty, and I'm saying plead guilty to what?
yeah.
What did you catch
Exactly.
me with? You didn't catch me with anything.
And what would happen if you pled guilty?
Oh no, they want jail time. They want jail time.
Yeah, they've been pushing for jail time, but they're not going to get it. It was fairly straightforward, unlawful.
But the reality of it is that there's effectively jail time for the remaining
Already?
5 who
No,
are
Yeah,
they've
well,
been
that's
in
it.
jail for longer than if they were sentenced.
really.
Exactly. It's been 2 years and 10 months.
It's a
that
human
they've
rights
been in jail.
violation.
Yeah.
They've been in jail. I feel the worst for them. You know what I mean?
We need
At
to
least I
notify
got
the
out of it.
international press.
Yeah, it's
Al
ridiculous.
Jazeera and the folks.
Yeah.
And they were only denied bail because they're foreigners.
That's
I was denied bail, but then they had to give me bail
So
because
it's a
I'm South
xenophobic
African.
act as well.
Never
Even
mind that
though-
they've lived in this country for over 20 years.
And that
And
the
built a
Hawks
home and a
had
family
their
and a life here.
and the Hawks had their passports. The Hawks took their passports, and then they still were denied bail.
Because let's face it, who gets smuggled back to Eastern Europe?
Yeah.
Doesn't say that shit. But now,
The truth.
how long were you in for, dude?
3 months.
3 months.
3
yeah?
months. Yeah.
And you're
Because
saying
they made my bail 50,000, so it wasn't a small amount to come up
God.
with. I have to be honest. They made it very difficult.
Yes.
And I've seen rapists and murderers with like what 5,000 rand bail.
Exactly.
Yeah. Less.
Exactly.
yeah, that's
And
it.
they-
These
You're
people
jail
are
sentence.
brainwashed then.
And you're saying at one point you're having a happy as can be, because you're about to get out of there.
Yeah, and they rearrested me again.
Like what? Straight away?
Yeah, we got stir prosecution, and then they heard about it and they got the DPP to revoke it. But
So
it,
he was released literally and rearrested immediately. I'm free, I'm not.
but I can't talk too much into it. You know what I mean? Because
No, of course.
Yeah.
But they've really tried very hard to keep us in jail. They've tried. I must say that. I understand they're doing their job, and police are police, and they believe they're doing the correct thing. It's
But
to
who
them,
are they
but they've
serving?
tried very hard
But
to
who
keep
are they
us.
serving?
Themselves.
They're servants.
Yeah, that's
So
what I would like
who
to
is
know.
the person that they're serving
Who's
in
the
that
vic-
moment when they
yeah.
go that hard after a person, when there's no other person saying, I'm putting my hand up, this person either attacked me or destroyed my property or whatever grievance you have, there's no one.
Yeah,
There's nothing.
that's the thing. There is no
There's
system
nothing.
really in it.
It's ridiculous.
So what happens now, though?
Well, I'm back in trial now. Well, we've started trial, so I'm going back on the 14th.
Mm.
14th to the 23rd.
Now.
Yeah, now in December.
Yeah.
Because our lawyer's pushing for it.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
a
The
brilliant
lawyer
advocate.
that they
She's,
have now is
no,
a
she's unbelievable.
powerhouse.
I feel like I've got somebody behind me fighting.
Brilliant.
I have to be
She's-
honest. She's very
She
good.
does not take
Phenomenal.
cock from anyone. She does this thing. I'm only going
By
to
the
say
law.
that.
Yeah.
By the law.
I'm only going to say the one thing that she does in the courtroom that's really funny. Like, we were sitting in the back watching, like, you could see, like, this side of her sticking out from beside the bench where the accused sits. And, like, when someone says something that she disagrees with, like, you just see her arms go like this on the table, like she's getting ready to jump up and be like, may it please the court. And then she goes, dude. Like,
Yeah,
she does
no.
not take shit from anyone.
It sounds like fire because you swing down there for
Yeah.
the
This is
Yeah,
the
latest.
they
case
can-
we went to go and support.
Yeah.
Last week, eh?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, last week. It
was.
feels like it
It
so
was
long
this
ago.
time last week
We just got
roasted
yeah, we just
Vali.
got yo, it was so bad.
Bad.
So bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
We
banked
just
one day and spent an extra day at the coast and on the beach.
whole
Like,
day.
The whole day.
No
on the
sunscreen.
beach. I had a
Overcast.
hat at least.
White volley skin.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
sucks. I've had to go there and like not even go to the ocean. You know what I mean? You go there, go to court, and come back. And
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's
for you it's not
horrible.
even graft, it's like cut.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like a
horrible.
cut. Most, you're right,
Absolutely
bro. Most times we Varleys, we hit the road, we're like, coming your way, Durban, coming your way, toll gates. But we're happy because we're happy that we're going to get to a destination. But yours is like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's having to go somewhere cut
yeah,
and
it's
come
horrible.
back,
It's very
bro.
horrible. I promise.
It's such a fuck up,
In a
man.
nice, quiet seaside, quaint old town.
Ruin it for me.
Birthplace of
Yeah.
legends.
No, I love
Yeah.
it there.
Yes, you.
So you say it kicks off in the next week or two with the courts again?
Yes, on the 14th to the 23rd. The judge has given us we worked out an earlier date because our lawyer did push for it. She said, like, come on, this guy's in jail. So we
It's
did get an earlier
Christmas.
date, and I thought courts closed over Christmas, you know what I mean? But obviously not.
It's
But the judge is, I mean, I have a lot of respect for him. He seems
Yeah.
like a decent, well-balanced, open-minded gent. And
Okay.
I hold hope. I actually do hold hope. You can see that he's actually paying attention. He's making notes. He's not just, it's a Dagga case, I'm just going to sit here and let them fight it out and then whatever, you know. He's actually paying attention. He's being very mindful. So I hold hope.
But it must also be a mess up because I know that, I don't know if they did it with youth, but I know usually a bus like this is well planned ahead with various levels of prosecutors involved and hawks and blah blah blah. But I know that what very often happens is they hit you, but they also seize and freeze assets.
Yes, no, they do that, but the whole thing is they try to drain you. They really want to drain you because they know that lawyers cost so much money, and then they get their conviction at the end because you go there with a crap lawyer. That's what I see what they try to do. You know what I mean? They're not stupid. They understand. Even that's why they push you to plead. Never ever plead guilty. You don't even know what you're pleading guilty to, but they want
Not
you
a
to plead
criminal.
guilty.
Never did anything wrong.
I'll never tell
They are
anyone.
guilty now.
Yeah. Never say anyone. Tell anyone to plead.
And it's such like not like a paradox, but maybe like a paradox because like Wormslang's bringing up here, who are you defending yourself in court? So let's say one of us gets bust like you, who are you defending?
Yeah, who's my victim?
The way I understand it, and I'm just a weirdo, but this is my Ali McBeal take on it, is that effectively, I'm not saying this in a Karen way, because you know there's those Karens at the Pick and Pay, I pay your salary. Okay? But what I'm saying effectively is we're the taxpayer, so we are fighting ourselves
Yeah.
in court.
Yes.
And we're paying for this attorney and that attorney.
Yes.
And the judge.
And the
But
cops who
who
arrested you.
arrested you
Yeah.
at your
Yeah.
fucking
Snap
house.
again.
Yes.
Hey.
We've
Good
been
day.
doing that today. Yeah.
Royal.
It's a vicious circle.
And then
It
you
really
sue the
is.
cops for your money.
But what's the best case scenario now for you, bro? Like 5 years down the line, firmly in the past.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know what I mean? You have to move forward. You can't carry on. I just want this to be over. You know what I mean? It's like you got a monkey on your back,
Yeah.
and it really is. Like,
Feels like you got someone watching you the whole time as well. Like, you know, it's like
it's not
hanging.
even that. You have to constantly go back there, and you're at their burden, and they like own you kind of thing, because you don't know what your freedom is. So at this point you like hanging, you know what I mean? I just want it to be over, like really. I really just want it to be over. Then I can go forward with my life in whichever direction I choose.
Yeah. Without a
right
criminal
now, I just
record
need
so that
this
you
to
can
end.
actually go forward in life.
Exactly.
Because something, and I'm not going to try and get too sensitive here, but something, there must be a degree of PTSD with this sort of stuff. You know, I'm not going to be that oak trying to sell you the life policy now, but imagine you sitting there at home watching us now. Boom, your dog gets kicked the fuck in. Oak's got a gun pointing. You hope your dog or kid doesn't move too quick because it'll take a bullet.
Yeah.
Hey? And that is just the beginning of how your life got flipped, turned upside down. Because then you're in the van, you're in the jail. And I'm saying this thing quickly in seconds, but each second is days, weeks, months. For a lot of people who can't even afford a 500 rand bail, it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months before they even get a chance to say, hi, my name isn't this person, it's a fuck up, and they let him go, or something like that.
In my case I was involved with, the maid was held for a year in holding without having papers. That was the reason why they held her, and that was based on allegations only. We were never charged officially yet. We jumped ahead before then, so we could actually get charged. So it was based on allegations. They held this woman for a year in a cage. Just on allegations, just because she was there.
That's
So
ridiculous.
that can also happen, and you can just disappear in that system.
Yeah.
The parents have to keep following you where they move you as they decide, oh no, you're going to this one, this one, this one.
Yeah, they love to mess you around by moving you around.
Yeah, guys,
Yes.
it's heavy days. This is really still a story that's still being told. We've watched it from the beginning. I hope to tell you all a happy conclusion in the end. Well,
We
not
are
happy,
hoping
but
to bring-
like you say, just the relief. It's like I keep saying this thing that sometimes pain can be a real pleasure in a way. Say you got a thorn or something, and pulling it out is exquisite. The release, just going back to normality, because life's so shit that going back to normality can be and I hope you get back to normality soon, hey, Ryan?
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate
sooner
it.
than later, please.
I really do.
And the guys in jail, man, and like their kids
it's
are
hardest for
busy,
them.
like growing up with their fathers being in jail. Like it's horrible. It's really bad. You know, it's been long enough now.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's long enough.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's been long
It's
enough.
been
They've
way
already
too
paid the
long.
price. Whatever you think they did, they've already paid the price. It's time to let them go.
Cool.
That's enough.
So guys, before we get on to this week's High Five with Kenzie, please remember to vote in the Zol poll. Should cannabis be scheduled at all? Hell no. Faux show. So. To give you guys a bit of history, Kenzie is an international friend of the Dagga couple in Fields of Green for All. Believe it or not, he's got his fingerprints
And
everywhere.
Michael. Oh, Michael,
Michael,
too.
yeah.
Yay.
In the manifesto, we're going to do them separately, not together, hey?
Together.
They have actually been
Oh
on the
my
couch
God.
before as well.
Yeah.
Double feature.
So who's our other guest?
Michael.
Michael from
Yeah.
the war
He's
veterans thing about America. He'll tell us. He'll tell us.
But
Yes.
the point is that between him and Kenzie, a lot of work has been done towards getting this vote yesterday.
Yes.
So they are the people to speak to
They
if
made
you want to
this
know
happen,
what.
literally.
Yeah, like it's their independent research that they have been pushing for so long. That finally paid off.
That's dope, So what we're going to do is we're going to be dialing both of them in now. We're going to just try and not step over each other with questions. All right, we keep them sweet and short. But how's it, guys? Are you coming in?
Hello.
Hey!
Hi.
Greetings.
Great shit.
Yeah, I love the shirt, Michael.
So good to see your faces.
Here is Farid and not Michael. Because
It's
Michael
Farid,
is,
not Michael.
resting. He's on another continent.
Oh, snap.
But Farid is here and Farid is the other Michael.
Hi, Farid. Welcome. Tell us
Good to
what
see
went
you.
down at the UN.
Well, you know, it's the best day of 2020, but you know, that's not difficult because 2020 was just crazy. But probably the best day of the last 10 years in cannabis policy. For maybe except for you because you had a huge victory. couple of years ago, but globally this is a huge victory for the cannabis communities everywhere. The union of people that care about the cannabis plant, that like the cannabis plant, that cure themselves with the cannabis plant, or that just, believe it's not that harmful and that evil that it pretended it was. So this was symbolized by this Schedule 4 of the single convention, and we just took cannabis out of there. So it's, just a great day. I mean, yesterday I was celebrating all the afternoon. Today it's better already, but yeah. I hope you have been celebrating as well.
We were all sitting here listening as well, and
Yeah.
there was a fair amount of celebrating this side as well. For those of us who understand how big this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the world wait and bait. So tell us a
Yes,
little bit about
for
the
2
work
years.
that goes into this sort of thing, though, because it doesn't just happen on its own.
Well, maybe for that, Farid is the best. Actually, it's great that he's here because he's been at the United Nations for, I don't know, 20 years. I was a baby when he was already over there defending our rights and pushing for drug policy reform generally, cannabis policy reform in particular, because it's an emergency as well. So he has maybe he's less well known in the English-speaking world because he's French, but he's he's been a key stakeholder all this time. So to tell the history of how we've been there, I just joined in the last 5 years. So to tell the history, I think it's up to Farid, my friend.
Mostly, if we go back to your first question about should cannabis be scheduled, at least this question has always been there for years and years and will be there for years and years again. But if we look back at the history, for sure, I had the same feelings than you that prohibition laws are inhuman, that the prohibition laws are going against our fundamental rights. And then I discovered also the plant. And I was discovering at first cannabis as, I would say, kind of teenager, old heads, making his own experience. But slowly, by reading books, by meeting some people, I had to understand about the plant. And finally, I discovered also one thing is that when we talk about the laws, we talk about the right, and we talk also about the policy, the policy makers and the decision made by those political people who are obliged to decide for the rest of the world. And so it was quite a long way to get to the WHO and this scientific assessment, because before that, for years and years, it was first quite difficult to understand that those plants are not prohibited, they are under control, and they are under control for medical and scientific purpose. And if we want to address the issue, we have to stick on this and not to go on other way. And especially today with the CBD and the hemp market in development, we have lots of problem to understand that there is a difference. And the most important things that we have to know is about how the laws and how the policymakers has made the decision to put cannabis, to put poppy, to put coca leaf, to put all other type of natural drugs into a narcotics drug schedule. And mostly, and thank you, Kenzie, because you arrived in the last 5 years maybe, but you were already there to ask some question before about why we should maintain such a policy, why we should be under the rule of a plant being not allowed. More than that, we were born in a year, in a time where the world were deciding to eradicate those plants. The world was trying to target this aim of eradication. And so we came in the last 20 years, we have came from the very old cavern, prehistoric world, to, I would say, a kind of a modern world today. And just last word, this scientific assessment, at first it was Japanese that wanted in 2009 to make a scientific review in order to stop or to schedule the cannabis seeds as a precursor of the drugs. They asked WHO to make this scientific assessment over the seeds which are out of the United Nations conventions. And so, finally, WHO has done its work, which has never been done before, and this work has came to this result. And for sure, we would like to see cannabis as a plant out of the schedules and out of the UN treaties. But it's not already easy to get to this point, because even the WHO recommendation, the sixth one that was that were proposed to vote yesterday, where 5 of it were rejected. So we still have to work in order to ensure that cannabis as a medicine will be available all around the world for everyone at in its stage of our pain and suffering.
So what happens next?
Well, what happens next? You know, we have a lot of struggle to make. I mean, the United Nations, you know, it's important because they are the guardians of these treaties that, you know, are ruling, I mean, on which all of the ruling national, local are based on drugs. But the United Nations are also supposed to be the institution on which the human rights and, you know, fundamental rights ruling, the principles of peace, development, you know, cooperation, respect among all nations, all people. That's also supposed to be the United Nations. So it's not only that we have to change these treaties because it's law. It's actually hard international law, but it's also it's, you know, hard to believe that this institution defending peace and development has been, you know, defending prohibition and eradication, which is just the exact opposite of peace and development. So we have a lot of work to do, both to change hard law, because taking cannabis out of Schedule 4 is something that it was needed to be done first. We needed to do that before anything else. You can't really do anything else without having done that before. And even on other drugs, on coca leaf, for instance, which is also a drug, herbal medicine, not harmful at all, that doesn't deserve to be scheduled as a drug in the 61 Convention, and you know, other substances, usually traditional medicines that are controlled in the Drug Control Convention. So to do anything with these medicines, or with drug policy generally, we needed to get rid of this sort of taboo of having cannabis as the evil drug in Schedule 4. So what's next? Everything. This is what we needed to do to unlock everything. So what's next? Everything.
I'm talking.
Where are you starting, Kenzie?
If I can add something on this question, for sure now this is at national level that we have to really be more powerful in our claim to change the policy on cannabis. And at national level, I know that in South Africa you had quite a very nice success, and thank you for all you have done, because even your result in South Africa can help us in France, for instance. And we have to emphasize and empower ourselves at local ground to build national coalitions that will push for those policy reform. We have to build also some regional networks, because in South Africa there is Lesotho not so far, Rwanda, Tanzania, and so being also able to build those coalition of pro-cannabis in South Africa, pro-cannabis in Latin America, pro-cannabis in Asia, then we will empower ourselves within the UN system, because actually we are very weak in the different regional institution within the UN. And the UN in Nairobi should be regularly visited by all African cannabis users, all. Those who are working closely on this drug policy reform, cannabis policy reform.
Yeah.
And, another task that we could also see in the near future is mostly regarding the patients and those who are suffering. For sure, now cannabis has been discontinued from the Schedule 4, but we need to empower the knowledge about how the patients are using cannabis, and all the different testimonies that can also, it's empirical, but to push for clinical studies. And this is quite very important to get those research done in the near future.
That's big steps.
What happens with THC though?
What was the question, sorry?
THC. What about THC?
What about THC? THC is one of the cannabinoids. I don't know what it's about this one in particular. I like the others as well. No, I don't know. THC, we've been calling that the untapped story behind all of this, because it's really complex. I don't know how to put it clearly for all the viewers, but we have two conventions on drugs: the 61 convention, single convention, and the 71 convention. So we have cannabis and all the products of cannabis in the 61 convention, and so THC derived from cannabis is there, and then we have THC in the 71 convention. In theory, it's all THC, but just because we already have the one derived from the plant in 61, we cannot have it in two conventions, so it's only synthetic. So what that means is what we have: synthetic THC in the convention, natural THC in the other convention. So that's just strange, doesn't make sense. And in addition, synthetic THC is a bit lower, so it has advantage compared to plant-based THC or plant-based THC medicine. You know what I mean? So, for instance, if you make Marino, if you make a plant-derived Marino, basically you will have more control, more international control than if you do a synthetic Marino. So the WHO proposed to put everything at the same place, which is where the plant THC is. So bring back the synthetic where the plant THC is. So that would have put everything at the same place, which for us is great. You know, we are not against synthetic THC. We just think, you know, it should be given the room for plant-based THC as well. I mean, it shouldn't be at advantage. Synthetic, we don't care. I mean, if synthetic THC is useful for some patients, we are never going to be opposed to any medicine that can be useful for some patients. You know, we just don't want other people to be opposed to plant-based THC, which we know can be useful for patients. So WHO proposed to put everything in the same schedule, in the same box. That will simplify, that would be great, and that will send a strong message also that we are not giving advantage to synthetic cannabinoid medicine. And the government refused, so we had all the prohibitionist countries refusing it. Russia, Pakistan, Nigeria, that's sort of okay because they are refusing everything. So it was not a surprise. But we also have the USA refusing it. That was a bit of a surprise, but not that much, because they are producing synthetic THC. It's already at a lower schedule in their national schedule, in the US. So they are already, I mean, they have already a pharmaceutical industry taking advantage of having this marino synthetic THC at advantage. So as a normal, sort of normal, I mean, at least, you know, in diplomacy, that's what you are supposed to do, to defend your people and your industry. So it's sort of normal that they were opposing that just to defend their existing industry, right?
Their interests,
At the same time, it sends a message on plant-based THC. But the big surprise for us was to see some civil society, some NGOs, joining this, opposing this recommendation. So we still, for me it's a shock. I don't understand why they oppose a recommendation that would have, be clearly a very good message. I don't know. I'm not a conspirationist person, so I'm not going to say they are hidden interest or whatever. But I would really like to understand why some NGOs have joined, the U.S. Attitude of opposing this recommendation. As Michael was saying, to even the playing field between synthetic and plant-based cannabis medicine. But anyway, we tried. They refused the recommendation, but synthetic THC continues that advantage, but it's a tiny advantage. It's not also as if it was, legal and the other one is illegal. Synthetic THC is also controlled. It's not that bad, and everything stays just like before in regard to THC. So no bad news, just missed opportunity to send a message for plant-based medicine. And we think it's great that WHO has sent this message saying we are not going to favor, synthetic medicine. We just think cannabinoid medicine can be great. We don't care if they are synthetic or plant-based or whatever. Just, it's a useful medicine, so use it. And we missed the opportunity to improve that. So next time.
That's a very good point that you made about the difference between the THC in its synthetic forms and natural plant-based THC, because it's part of the very complex way the schedules are interpreted. And for sure, if we look at THC in itself, the WHO has already issued some recommendation before. At first, the WHO recognized some therapeutic purposes with THC. And so that's why also there is marinol and such medicines that are already existing. But unfortunately, the member states didn't want to allow and to, in a way, promote the use of the natural plant-based medicine, and that will be one of our tasks for the future. In the near future, we also need to emphasize the work at the WHO, the department in charge of the integrative medicine, which are mostly trying to promote natural plant-based and not the allopathic way to carry on the medicine. And so maybe in the near future also, some member states will try to push for those recommendations already made by WHO about THC to lower the level of control and to schedule it in the Schedule 3 of the 1971 Convention. And maybe it could be a way to also have much more medicine available in the pharmacy shelves.
And where can we find out more about your work and keep up to date with what's going on?
Yeah, you have this, exactly, he's pointing it perfectly with his finger. You see that he's an expert in live streaming. If you type fat, like that with 3A and cannabis in Google, I'm pretty sure you'll find us. If you want to see precisely what country voted what, when, how, and this and that, all the details of this particular votation that took place yesterday, you can go on the CND monitor. Again, you type CND monitor, cannabis, and you will find it. CND goes for Commission on Narcotic Drugs. That's the commission of the UN that has been voting yesterday. So CND monitor, cannabis, you'll get it. That's
great.
CND monitor, how it comes created.
Great. We do have a link to FART from the
International.
on the international organizations on Fields of Green for All. on our website.
Yeah, that,
we do
exactly.
have a link.
That's what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure if you follow Field of Green for All and all the good NGOs in your country, if in South Africa,
Yes.
you will have the information relayed when there are important news. So follow your local networks.
Great.
Awesome.
Kenzie, thank you very much for joining us. So your final thoughts on our poll this evening. Should cannabis even be scheduled at all?
No, absolutely. Cannabis shouldn't be scheduled at all. But the problem is that in this convention, at least, you cannot just. I mean, we could do that, take it out of Schedule 4, then take it out of Schedule 1. It's just like if you have one chair and you take out one of the legs of the chair. The convention, the full convention is falling, including the control over methamphetamines and stuff like that. That countries will never let it fall. So it's almost as if you can't take cannabis out of Schedule 1 or out of the schedules of the convention without changing totally the convention. So instead of starting to deschedule cannabis, which is almost impossible, we should really start thinking about changing the convention.
Changing
And
the
obviously cannabis would not be in the new convention.
changing the way we implement the convention, because at least we know that cannabis has plenty medicinal potentials, and that's the purpose of the conventions, to ensure the availability for the global population to have access for those medicines that will release their pains. And so we know that cannabis has medicinal values and potential since thousands of years, and those conventions has been established mostly under I would say, a kind of colonial racist view over the way to control those goods at time. And nowadays we have to fight against the big pharma that are quietly deeply interested by the fact that we as a people, we can't grow our own cannabis in our garden because of the hard laws that has been implemented by our governments. But if we change those laws at national level, then we will go against a little bit against those big pharma interests. And this is also the purpose of our work. And I know that in South Africa you have done quite well, and I thank you, and I give a big hug to all the Fields of Green friends, and a special big kiss to Milton.
We will pass it on, but we need to see your guys' friendly faces here in South Africa as soon as possible, please. I demand it, in fact.
Yeah, when it's possible, because right now, as you know,
Yeah, I know,
you
as soon
can't
as
even
the
leave
world
home.
is finished falling apart.
Strange
At least we
times.
can join you on the Hotbox. That's
At
great.
least.
Yeah.
Please.
Always amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for joining us. Stay
Thank you
lit.
very much.
Keep well, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you soon.
I love the shirt.
Yeah, I love it.
Perfect.
So it's sad that it's like farmer, F-A-R-M-E-R, versus farmer, P-H, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's
Strange
so-
But I
times.
said it's all games.
It's games.
It's games. It's not about the plant. It's games.
And the lizards are 20 moves ahead.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's scary.
And pocketing, dude, along every
And conniving,
step.
and scheming,
Yeah.
and backhanding.
It'll always be about money.
No.
Yeah, guys.
We're
Funny
pawns
motive.
in their game.
Funny motive, eh? So what my only thought that kept going through my head
What
though
is this
is
damn called?
the
Conspiracy
UN.
theory.
It's called JFK. So my only thought is maybe the UN should really all out commit to this and even go extra, hey? Yeah, you're sitting at home, next thing you check the choppers pulling in, doing emergency drops of crates of weed, oaks running up to your door. Excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am. We're just calling to make sure you got enough marijuana.
That would be the day.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I'd be so happy.
Dank aid.
Yeah.
I think all that really really they need to do, and maybe it's just the mischievous me, is like when they're getting all together at the UN, and you know when you have a conference and you always get your coffee or your tea with your little biscuit on the side. Like really, we need to infiltrate the caterers and just medibble the fuck out of everybody. Not badly, lightly, enjoyably, so that they can understand
Like an inverted
why
MK
this
Ultra.
needs to be a real thing.
Oh, guys. That was awesome. Also, big thank you to you, Oaks and
Yeah.
Molly, for pulling it off, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
Shane.
spontaneous,
Great
but
guest,
worked
information.
dope, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not going to jinx it, nothing crashed.
Yeah. Shane, we spoke to Kenzie yesterday after the vote, and then he said he's going out drinking, and I only got a hold of him like at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So, yeah, it's been going well over there.
I see the chat's kicking off there. Thank you very much, Oaks. Eh? I don't know if we're going to say hi to anyone tonight because it's so weird on the new channel, figuring it all out the first few dates.
Subscribe.
Like,
Yeah.
share, subscribe.
And
Hashtag
Facebook
Hotbox Show on the
today.
socials. And please comment in this week's Zol poll. Should weed even be... No, fuck, I'm so bad.
Schedule.
I'm lost in so many... Do you know what it is?
Schedule.
It's like when you've said a word so many times,
Schedule.
it
Yeah.
loses its meaning.
Yeah.
It's that, bro.
It's just a fancy word.
Schedule.
It's not the weed.
It's not the weed.
You ain't sending in the Dagga.
Never blame the weed. It's all you.
Don't blame your tools, bud. So guys, we're gonna kick it down a bit. We're gonna get all Professor Dank out here on Dan. The K is silent. In this week's Growing With My Buds, there may be another use for all of your joint and braai ash. Let's take a look at the nitty-gritty of ash for your weed plants. Because this oak here sent a video of an Australian telling us all about his biochar and potash.
Potash. I'm going to watch the video.
No, we can't do that.
No, we can't. No, we can't.
But he's a good oak, he's a vet or something. I've watched a lot of his gardening stuff. But it's not the first time that biochar and potash have come up. But I don't think we've ever really spoken about it in Growing With My Buds.
We might have mentioned it in an episode here about additions to add to the ground. But it's not something that is like the be-all and end-all of in terms of nutritional input in the soil, right?
So it's not the everything, but we could go a little deeper than that on it, eh?
Of course, no. I mean, it is pretty cool. Like, if you're saying joint ash, I think you'd have to save a lot of ashtrays of joint ash to get it. But it'll work. You have to sift through your ashtray, which is kind of sick. But anyway.
No, but I mean, ash from a fireplace, a
Yeah.
braai, it's nice to sit and have a joint by a little, like,
I mean, that's an
bonfire
easy
fire.
way to put in
Carbon.
but it's not the same as biochar.
No, it's not.
Charcoal and biochar are different.
Yeah.
Where
And potash is also different.
potash, yes, yeah, it is different. But what we're talking about is the biochar. You want to talk about the biochar, or you talking about charcoal? Because if you're putting stuff from the
Well, let's
braai,
talk
it's
about all
different.
three. Let's talk about the
Wood ash.
differences as well. Let's start with the basic wood ash. So from the fireplace, maybe from the braai.
Yeah, from the braai and the fire, it does it. You can use it. You can throw it into your garden. And what it's basically doing is carbon. You're adding carbon to the ground. So you're basically making the ground more nutritionally available. When nutrients go through or they're added, it absorbs it and allows it to be distributed into the soil more evenly and more over time because it breaks down with the carbon that's inside it. So it does help an old garden that has no nutrition in it to revive itself and allow it to start holding nutrients for if you were to have a bare ground, throw your potash or any of your ash and your biochar onto it and it'll basically hold whatever you put on top of that. So it's allowed to grow seeds and whatever it is you put there to grow faster and better or allow have nutrients to grow.
Because I see they talk here in terms of nutrients. It's got a lime vibe to it, a phosphorus vibe to it, and that. So it definitely adds. I don't think it's a quick release thing though. It's a sort of slow release thing. I wouldn't
why the
necessarily
white
use
ash
it
is
in a
better.
hydro.
No, that's why the white ash is better.
So they say use white, eh?
You can use, if you use the charcoal, just crush it a bit so it's not like too clumpy. But that's actually great for mixing into the soil because it acts like a sponge and the microbes will actually colonize that piece of charcoal. So if it's chunky, rather mix it into like a pot or something, but otherwise just crush it up a bit more. So, but the white ash, you'll see after a couple of waterings it's gone. And it is, it's free. That's where potassium comes from. The word potassium comes from pot ash, burnt wood. So this one is saying that it's vital for fruit.
Yeah.
Or fruit growing plants. So
Here's a random question: does a specific kind of wood better than another kind of
there are
wood?
differences, yes.
Okay.
But usually hardwood is pretty solid. But again, it's the white. White ash is good.
Burnt hot as
Yeah.
well.
And then biochar is different because that's only charring the wood. So you don't burn off all the nutrients, where ash actually has got no
It's
nitrogen or
bare.
anything
Yeah,
in
it's
it.
bare.
It's only the pot ash.
Mm.
So it's mostly potassium, where biochar will be whatever wood it was, or a fruit tree, or whatever you're roasting, it will have that kind of like composition to it. They go through some articles with like versus cork wood versus softer wood versus twigs versus leaf matter, green matter that you burn, that you charcoal up. You know, you mimic a straight veld fire. So there is different levels to it, I guess.
What they do with the biochar is they're burning it. The process is pyrolysis, where there's no oxygen when they burn it. So it basically burns at a lower temperature, chars it, and it keeps a lot more micronutrients inside the wood and stuff available. And then they would take that biochar and then they would impregnate it with some kind of inoculants that have been allowed to be
will colonize.
super thriving addition to the soil. So when you add that, it's not just biochar. You can use it to make it even more hardcore and put into the ground.
Well, that's what I keep hearing. So when the oaks are speaking about the biochar and the ash and that, is that it's not so much to feed your plant. Yes, it's got these things in, and don't overdo it because you can overdo it. But it's got these things in, but mostly it's for beneficial bacteria and microbes, because apparently they go before when you put this stuff down and in. They colonize the shit out of it. They colonize it like Europeans 300 years ago, bro.
Well, microbes
Irwin,
rely on
bro.
carbon. That's mostly what they do.
That's what they eat. They're so small that they're
go
eating
for
carbon essentially. So if you've got a big
So
chunk
if
of
you
it,
feed carbon,
they're there.
and you cover it again with your mulch, be sure to see some fuzz very soon.
Exactly.
Add
So
some
then
coffee.
you take that and add that to any of your beds, and you've got a little block
Just fuzz
of
it again.
microbe heaven right
Yeah.
there, and it'll just spread out into your garden as you use it. So you can. It's very, very, very important. This is all part of the KNF as well. KNF, natural
Just
farming,
when you
natural
braai, watch out for
practices.
sauces and stuff that drip onto your charcoal, whatever. Maybe burn it again. You know, if it's like straight charcoal. But that's why wood fire is better.
And I think the key word here
Wood ash.
is ash.
Wood
Ash, guys, you're burning it to ash.
Yeah.
You know, it must be puerky, you know.
Yeah.
Not big pieces, and like this oak says, not big pieces with a stick of burry and a oopsie that was a
congealed
oopsie.
marinade. It's burnt into a rock.
A bit of a bottle cap on the
Yeah,
side.
if you
Yeah,
have a
bottom
raise
cap
your
and
pH,
stuff.
if you need a quick fix for a pH up, in soil, if you're running like a bed or whatever of living soil and your pH dips on you, just add some wood ash, it'll spike it back up. There it says pH 7.5 or greater. So I mean,
It'll neutralize it
Yeah.
out, yeah. Bring it back.
so it's basically you
Better
can
than
over lime it though, so you just gotta watch it.
Yeah. So take it easy. It's always easier to add, but sometimes it's hard to subtract. You know. So is this something I could do indoors?
Well, it's
Yeah.
something that you can add to any pot that you grow in. So if you're
Yeah.
using organic indoor growth,
Okay.
of course you can.
Yeah.
You can make some biochar yourself, or you can go find someone that's selling it, buy it, add it to your pot. So like we're saying, additions to the pot. Add it in. Add it into your organic grows more. I wouldn't put it into a cocoa peat mix at all.
No.
It's not
Yeah.
something for hydroponics. It's for, like we're talking about, colonizing bacteria and microbes inside it in order to help it feed the soil and get the soil happy, living.
So you're also saying, you're saying what, dude?
Living soil.
There we go.
And what's the deal with living soil, dude?
Yeah, for me, I've always just preferred the hydrococoa.
Is it, eh?
I've steered clear of organic, I have to
Yeah.
be really honest. It's never really interested me. I prefer straight cocoa. very forgiving.
So you weren't ever there looking at the braai thinking you're going to do the hipster thing, reclaim that?
No strawberries in my ash.
only scafe, but with the biodegradable filter.
What resin are you using? What resin are you using?
No red rose.
No red resin in
No
the
red
braai. So Dan, is this something you would use or recommend? Like, is it for beginners, intermediate, advanced?
I would recommend it, definitely. It is. It's something that you can use just literally at home in your own, as a beginner that has nothing. You can use this, add a little bit to the top. Don't overdo it. Don't go and take every braai and pour it on top of your pot plant where your plant's growing. It's going to fucking kill it.
So like we've got a big
Moderation
pile
is key with this, with organics.
of compost, garden refuse. We put in the fireplace, so we just take
Empty
that.
on top of that.
Yeah, once it's like.
Then you
not
must just turn your compost pile every night so it mixes that carbon into everything so that it breaks down with it. Because now it's just like one pile of, like you're saying,
you just got to cover it.
it's a
If you
pH
put it on top,
difference.
it's fine, but just
keep
cover it.
Yeah, so that it's separated every
So
time.
either
Otherwise,
mix
it's a big
or
block
just
of
layer.
pH difference. It's
Let's
like
take it is better.
Okay, cool. Lekker.
Or go and do it every now and then, go and spread it into your garden.
But do it for your veggies. You know, grow 2 tomatoes, give one more potash than the other one, and then just see the difference in the fruit size, because it does help fruiting plants a lot.
Okay, great.
There was even saying like for carrots it's great. There's all kinds of recommendations.
Potatoes,
Yeah.
potash.
Use it
those.
around root veg, peas, beans, apple trees, and soft fruit bushes.
So there we go. That's a good
And
thing you
dry
can use.
ash, because otherwise all the goodness gets washed away.
But don't do it on a windy day.
And you can make biochar in very small amounts if
Yeah.
you don't really braai and stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of that
5
person.
liter.
You can even take those Milo tins
Yeah.
and you can spike some holes into it and you
Perfect.
can make a small little lid and you close it up and you burn it inside and it makes it. Chars it up lacquer and you can take that and crush it up and make like some
Yeah.
super impregnated
It'll go far.
biochar that's like uber strong.
Yeah.
You don't have to go big and have like braais and stuff if you
Or
don't
just
want
get
to.
your compost heap going.
There we go.
Yeah.
So just look it up. Look up
Yeah.
homemade biochar makers, small scale biochar makers.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
then-
you could call the Weber, man. Bah, bah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good fun, good
You
fun.
can sift it as well if you really want to.
What?
You can sift it
Yeah.
and put the black back into the compost heap and
Yes.
turn that in, and then the white ash you can put straight onto the plant. So I mean, it's on that video the guy was saying about sifting, but he says
Okay.
he doesn't bother, he just crushes it, so and mixes it in. He hasn't seen anything strange. But yeah, try it on your veggies. You know.
And go check out the link we put in the bottom there, because this oak, he's really woke and he's very inspirational and he's fun to watch. He's
Yeah.
got some good content. So we couldn't play any of it, but go check it out. But what I saw that was very weird as well in the stories about this is that oaks make it themselves. You can just burn the shit, or you can do that thing that, what was that word you used with the P? Where you kind of
Pyrolysis.
bake it, pyrolysis, where you kind of bake the shit out of it but keep some stuff in it. Because I see when oaks also bake it, they reclaim the gas off it. It's,
That was that episode of the guy makes. You make tar like that.
yeah.
Tar, homemade tar. out of it.
So there's a lot that goes on there. But what was
Can
also
somebody please give that recipe to Joburg Growth Agency to fill some fucking bottles? Please.
homemade tar out of all our stompies too, man. But what was also interesting, they spoke about it. There's also people who go behind forest fires and claim it
Yeah.
and sell it. I assume.
No, I just use it.
Yeah.
When the veld fires come, just go through with the fucking wheelbarrow.
With the Electrolux.
Yeah. Scoop a bit of white ash. Some twigs for the compost heap. And there you go.
So guys, definitely a usable thing, more an organic thing, more of a living soil thing. So try it out. I would say intermediate, and you don't need a lot to start with. But I don't think it's something you can buy off the shelf. I haven't seen Freedom Farms.
No.
No.
No, it's based to...
I saw some guys talking about it locally in the groups that there's someone making locally available biochar. So
Then it's about ethics.
Just
and
go
where
and-
they're getting it from.
go and find out where it is. Go and
Yeah.
Google it. Go and
Doesn't help, but we're just burning the
Scan.
the
Yeah,
felt now.
ethically sourced biochar.
So,
100%.
Yeah.
or made or whatever, however they got to do it. You just got to basically woke about it. So.
Next thing you're gonna see, people are gonna be selling hash everywhere.
A new wave of charcoal sellers.
Oh, it's gonna be at your window, begging for ash. No, man.
Wait till the end of
Ash,
the numbing
Ash, can
circle.
you imagine?
Yeah, but I bet there's some oaks with a jar full of roaches there that could make some char. So, guys, please remember to comment in this week's Zol poll. Should we be scheduled? Hell no, faux show. So. Like, share, subscribe, hashtag Hotbox show on the socials. Before we say goodbye to all of y'all and all of y'all, a bit of an update from Fields of Green. I hear there's a manifesto update, a lot going down.
Yes. So, it has been a crazy year, and it feels like the closer we get to the end, the faster time runs. I don't know if it's been like that for all of you, but like there's been a lot happening at Fields of Green, and we've been really adamant about pushing out content that is relevant and about what people need to hear. One of the things that we've been working on really hard is the manifesto. Now, the manifesto is a really intensely researched document of exactly how cannabis should be regulated from beginning to end, so that it's fair to everyone, from the guy that owns the cannabis business down to the guy on the street that's currently selling it to make a living.
In South Africa.
In South Africa. So it has to be inclusive of everyone, and until that has not been reached, our work isn't done. So we're going to still be busy for quite some time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't Kenzie been assisting and contributing
Yes,
towards
so
this?
Kenzie and all of his fantastic research that you can see on
Patreon.
Patreon, he's been really fundamental in helping us with research from what's currently happening in different countries where cannabis is being regulated. And then there's research and evidence that shows how it's effective and the process that has been followed to get to that. So it's a really intense document that we are trying to use to educate government. So it starts at the beginning. It educates them about what the plant looks like, that we don't smoke the leaves, for instance. And you know that like it's not about 6 plants and that sort's an adult. You can't even begin to
It's
to
like
quantify.
how long is a piece of rope question.
Exactly.
Very
So
unfair.
we're trying to educate them in that way, and then provide them with all this very hardly worked on, delicate but purposeful research about how it should be done. So we are busy working on our final edition, because obviously things have been changing quite a bit in the industry. So we've had to do some updates, and we're busy with the final design, and that'll be our end of project for the year. And it's sort of it's a bittersweet thing ending off the manifesto, because it's like we've been at it forever, and it's so many people have been part of creating this thing, that it's almost sad to let it go, but it's also like our eyes are reading across each other on this thing. So
we've been working on this for about 2 years now. I think.
Yeah.
It's been a really long time. I remember when it started as this tiny little book,
Yeah.
and it's growing into this huge thing.
Yeah, it's currently we think it's going to be over 100 pages.
It's going to go down in the annals of history.
Yes,
There's museums are
definitely.
going to want copies. The World of Cannabis Museum has already got a copy booked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So keep in tune for that. It's coming soon. And then the other thing, it's almost the Christmas season, and if you were wondering what to get Fields of Green, we are all a size whatever you can afford GoFundMe donation.
Yes.
So it would be really cool if we could end the year off. We've got just over 5,000 euros to go to our goal. And just thank you to everyone that have contributed. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for letting everyone know that this is the campaign. We really appreciate everything, and we're asking for just one final push to help us get there and finish all the work that's ahead of us. So yeah, it's been good, and it's been a very eventful year, and we're very excited about new things coming in the new year. And the last little update that I'm going to give is that Dagga private clubs must just stay in tune for 2021. There's a lot coming, so be prepared. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then I'll quickly just talk about the affiliates.
Yes.
How about that? Not that I have much to say. I mean, they've just been absolutely amazing, and I love and adore all of you. This year has been just insanely crazy. So next year, fresh energies. I'm looking forward to maybe doing a bit of a road trip and coming to meet everybody face to face. And do some like actual bonding and you know, if we can't do face to face, it's Zoom at least. But
Good idea.
I think a road trip is in order. We'll come visit and bond and vibe and
Steal your lighters.
yeah, we're gonna
Steal
grab
your
some
lighters.
stickers and steal your lighters. And I just wanted to thank all of you for your patience. You know, we did have a little bit of a bump through the year with the things that happened that were way out of our control. And it's taken us, there was a bump in all of your social media posts and things fell off the bus a little bit. And as we pull ourselves back together, we're getting things back together and even tighter. So I just wanted to say, like, sorry for that, but it's going to get bigger, it's going to get better. And from December, your ads are going out on the Hotbox social media as well. So thank you for supporting us.
So
and,
shares, you're making it rain with the shares.
And
We'll
lots
make
of
it rain
mutual
with shares.
content in the new
Listen,
year.
guys, we are Fields of Green for All. Our focus is for the promotion of fair regulations, human rights-based regulations, evidence-based regulations. That's where our focus is. That's what our job is. So, like, we're not a public relations firm or ad agency or marketing agency. We're not like
Influencers.
yeah, we're not influencers. We do what we can to put your name out there. We list you on our website so that we can show all of our supporters exactly who the companies are that support logical regulations that would promote an amazing economy for South Africa. Something words, yeah.
So whatever denomination or non-denomination you are,
Yeah.
go do all your Christmas shopping, man.
Please go do your Christmas
Christmas
shopping
time.
with our affiliates and say thank
Christmas.
you to them for their support to us, because
Yes.
and like really without them we would be wholly screwed. We wouldn't really be able to do much. You guys in the Green Network are
Oh.
you're our heroes, really. You're our heroes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so please go support the brands who put their money where their mouth is. The views on the show aren't the views of these people. It's just us blowing off steam and all that.
Yes.
But guys, it's been a wonderful quarter to Friday. I wish I had some poll results, but
Nice team to
everyone was kind of like, it shouldn't be
It
scheduled.
shouldn't be scheduled.
But do you know what? I'm going to go against the flow here. And I'm going to say the very reason it's been rescheduled is the reason it should be scheduled. Because maybe when you say, I got the answer for cancer, maybe it should be.
True.
So that there's certain amounts of research and
Yeah.
okay.
It's going to come with regulation.
So basically where it is now was the right move. It's not in with the
Just for that part.
tracing.
Just for that part.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's going to be medicine, maybe it should be scheduled. For what we're doing here now, regulated's cool with me, or not with decriminalization. But for what's happened with the
this
UN
kind of
effectively-
regulator. Thank you.
But yeah, alright, if you're going to say it's the answer for cancer, maybe that, to a degree, should be scheduled. But that's just me being disruptive and all. Have we forgotten
the doctor
anything?
should sign off on it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So you just need someone who's willing to say yes as a doctor,
Yeah.
a learned person. You know, I've spent time in front of the books, and I agree that this should be used.
But then
This what I say.
that's just regulation. That's not scheduling.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
regulation. That's
No, but
someone
if he
saying
has
that
access to it, then he can administer it. So now that it's been scheduled, it will become closer to him to reach on the shelf. You know?
Yes.
That's the thing. So it's
It's
double-edged sword every time.
It's still
But
on
it
the
does,
shelf, he
yeah.
just doesn't
It
need a
does
ladder
cut,
to reach it.
so-
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you Oaks are going to have a lekker weekend and all that.
Yes.
Let's hear what Ramaphosa said.
Oh, my fellow South Africans. Please stay safe and choose happy.
Yes.
And grow your own.
Grow your own. And smoke your own.
Definitely.